Come with me with Tava, no places too far. Come with me with Tava, no places too far to go. We can take you around the world. Catch this flight with me with Tava, no places too far to go. New places, new faces, yeah, new zip codes. New money, NFTs and plus crypto. Don't need care cash no more. Digital currency on me. Overseas we back and forth. Round trips all aboard, baby. There's room at the top. We'll save a spot for you. Can't no one limit us, so you should come with me. With Tava, no places too far. Come with me. With Tava, no places too far to go. We can take you around the world. Catch this flight with me. With Tava, no places too far to go.
Good evening, Tava Nation. Hey, Miss Pamela, Mr. Gilbert, Deron Hightower, Shelly Felton, Shanita, hello. Good evening, Tava Nation, my Facebook family. So glad that each and every one of you have tuned in. I want you to take a second, go ahead and tag and share right now. Hey there, Mr. Charles, Mandy Whistler, hello. B. Ramirez, come on, guys. Hey, who else? All of my Facebook users. Good evening to each and every one of you. Go ahead and remind everybody that we are live right now. Please share it to your page. What up, though? Detroit, did I say that right? What up, though? Miss Pamela, hello. So tonight we are getting ready for our hour of power, and we are going to hear from our very own CEO and founder. Hey, Miss Lula White. So you want to go ahead and share right now. Hey, Crystal, I see New York is checking in. Let us know where you are checking in from. Miss Sunserie, hello. Dr. Grace, good evening to you. Hey there, Miss Kawana. I see H-Town is in the building. Come on, guys. Tag, share, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I am Lachelle Pierre, Director of Operations for Tava Lifestyle. So glad to have each and every one of you. If you are just jumping on, it is time for our hour of power. Hey, Miss Twanya, where we will hear from our CEO and founder who needs no introduction. That is the Kenny E. Lloyd. Sir, are you back there?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I hear you loud and clear.
Good. How you doing today?
Wonderful. It's been a beautiful Sunday here in H-Town.
That's good. So thank you very much. Hey, everybody. Well, it's been beautiful. I will tell you this, that for about the last 2 weeks, man, I have been battling what I discovered is the flu. And it has just been rough. It's been rough, and I've been, fighting my way through it. Just like tonight, I have an obligation, so I'm gonna fight my way through this. I was thinking about what I really wanted to talk about tonight, and I was looking for inspiration, and I found it. And so I want to play a video with Steve Harvey, because I watch Steve Harvey because I subscribe to a lot of things that he talks about, and I also subscribe to, his story, and the things that he says. I think it's deep because it's almost like, like my story. So, Lachelle, I'd like for you to play that video, please.
I want to tell you something that can help enrich your life. It's a sure sign from God that he ain't through with you because he wakes you up in the morning. When he's done, you won't wake up no more. But as long as you're waking up, that means he has something for you that he hasn't been able to give to you for whatever the reason. I'm going to help you get to that reason a little bit quicker. I want to tell you something that I learned that changed my life. I was reading a book one time that had a quote in there from Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. If you think about that, that's a really, really true statement. Because everything you see in this world came from somebody's imagination. Everything. Somebody was talking on the phone one day, on that wall phone, connected to the cord, and tried to walk, and it didn't go no further. And he wanted to just go outside and get something out the car. Somebody said, you know what? I wish I could take this phone outside. Everybody in here got a cell phone. It was in somebody's imagination. Somebody imagined that. Somebody imagined everything. Somebody got tired of walking. Somebody got tired of driving cars. Somebody said, we're going to fly. You're not finna fly. Everybody in here have been on a plane. See, your imagination is the evidence of things not seen. You know why they call it the evidence of things not seen? Your imagination, you're the only one can see it. You're the only one can see it. See, so all this stuff you've been imagining was not some hocus pocus. When you imagine stuff, it's actually God showing you a preview of a coming attraction he has for you. That's what your imagination is. Why do you keep imagining yourself with a second home? Because God wants you to have a second home. Why do you keep imagining yourself in a supervisory capacity on another job? Because God really wants you to have that. Why you keep dreaming of opening a business one day? That's because that's what God really got for you. And he put it in your imagination. The problem with your imagination, though, is you tell it to the wrong people. If you want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. Think about this in your life. How many times have you had this really incredible idea and you took it to your family and your friends? You shared it with them and they shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. Because God didn't put it in their imagination. He put it in yours. It was your evidence of things not seen. See, all this stuff you've been imagining, you ought to start working on it. Because that's what God really got for you. Your real life is in your imagination. I'm here to tell you that. You think I'm here by accident? I'm here because he put this in my imagination when I was 10. When I was 10, he showed me I was going to be on TV. That's all I ever wanted. The assignment when I was in the 6th grade was everybody write their name on a piece of paper and write what you want to be. You know what I wrote on my paper? I want to be on TV. Now, the problem I had, though, was I used to suffer with a serious stuttering problem. I couldn't talk outside my house. I stuttered for years. I flunked out of school. I'm on my 3rd marriage. I lost everything I ever owned twice. I've been homeless and lived in a car for 3 years. But at 10, though, I wrote on a piece of paper, I want to be on TV. So the teacher went around the room and read everybody's paper. Had you stand up when she called your name. And the only assignment was your name and what you want to be. Doctor, lawyer, dentist, basketball player, football player. I wrote I want to be on TV. She saved me for last. She said, little Stevie, come to the front. Now I'm thinking, I'm going to the front because I got the best answer. Because ain't nobody had put that on their paper. She called me to the front. I'm thinking I'm finna give me a gold star, but I was wrong about that. She called me to the front to humiliate me. First of all, you know I can't talk. I suffered with stuttering stammer so bad, man. I couldn't talk at all. And that lady lit in on me. Why did you write this on your paper? Now I'm standing there, I can't talk. Who in this school ever been on TV? Who in your family ever been on TV? Who in this neighborhood ever been on TV? I'm crushing, man. I'm standing there dying. She said, look at you standing there. You can't even talk. How they gonna put somebody like you on TV? So every Christmas, I send her a flat screen TV. Because I don't want her to miss me. I do not want her to miss not an episode of me. Because I wanted her to see what God had done for me. The fact that you couldn't see it, it wasn't for you to see. He put it in my imagination. But after 3 years of homelessness, losing everything I ever owned twice, suffering through flunking out of school, go home and cut your TV on. That little boy with the stuttering problem, he all over that TV. You can't cut your TV on. You can't cut your TV on not now day of the week, and you don't see that little boy. That little boy with the stuttering problem is all over that TV because God put it in my imagination. All I did was hang on to that thought. I just kept hoping. I just kept hoping that what I had wrote on the paper would come true. A lot of times it wasn't about no faith. I didn't believe it sometimes. When you homeless and living in the car, how you see yourself as a TV star? But I just kept hanging on there. Because my mama was a Sunday school teacher. I kept hearing her say, God didn't bring you this far to leave you. God didn't bring you this far to leave you. Why do you think he keeps waking you up? Because he got more for you. He got way more for you. He got plans for you. But he needs your faith. He just needs you to call on him. He needs you to dust off your imagination and just go for it. You got to try. Quit waking up thinking you ain't got no say-so in your life. You have a choice in this matter. You can't stop what happened to you, but you can doggone sure do something about what happened to you. Life is 10% what happened to you, is 90% what you do about it. Somebody in your family gonna die. Somebody in here gonna get fired. Somebody here gonna get an eviction notice. Somebody gonna get laid off. Somebody company gonna close. That's life. Somebody you love gonna break up with you. That's life. But what you gonna do about it though? Since it's gonna happen anyway. Trust me, go home and ask God to open up your imagination and then pursue it with everything in you and watch what he do for you. Appreciate y'all.
That was deep. You know, it really touched me, to the core because my story is like that. I mean, for real, like my story is very similar to that. When I was in high school, I always, if you ever met anybody that has known me since I was in high school, they'll tell you that the one thing that I always said when the teacher would ask, "What is it that you want to be?" And I said, "I want to be a millionaire." Now I didn't know how. I didn't know, how it was going to happen, when it was going to happen. But I believed that it could happen for me. And I did. And my life was always abstract. I was never a very good student. You know, uh, I think I wasn't very good at too many things that I did early on. I played basketball. I wasn't a great basketball player, you know, because my heart wasn't in it. I had talent, but because my heart wasn't in it, I didn't manifest. I didn't develop the talent. Uh, my counselor in high school told me that I should probably go to a school and learn a craft or something, learn a skill or something, learn how to lay brick. And I don't knock that if that's what you do. I don't. But she never thought I would amount to anything. She never thought I would go to college. She never thought that in her wildest imagination that I would become what I have become. And my imagination, made it difficult for me in life because I imagined myself from the age of 16, 17 to 50 years old when it finally happened. I imagined being a millionaire. I did. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. I went through a lot of hell. I mean, I did, because of my family name. People had the expectation that, I would go to law school. I should go become an engineer because all the kids that whose parents were in the same circle as mine, they're my friends. They went on to be lawyers and doctors and engineers, and very few of them became entrepreneurs. Me, I chose another path. I knew I didn't want to go. I didn't want to. School wasn't for me. You know, going to law school, that was out of the question. Going to med school, that was definitely out of the question. Uh, I always kept trying different businesses. Anybody who knows me knows that when I was in college, uh, my homeboys and I, Toby Gallant, Alan Fields, Martin Kersey, uh, and a few others. Man, listen, I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, it's like we had parties, and I'm talking about parties, fashion shows, and we made money. We had sponsors. I mean, I had fashion shows. And I say all this to say is that I was always an entrepreneur. I always wanted to be rich. I used to look in the magazines and see what rich looked like. I mean, my family, we did pretty well, but I was always looking to see what rich looked like. And I emulated. My friends in college, they laughed at me because I would wear jackets with shirts and I would wear ascot, because I was aspiring to be rich. And a lot of people don't understand that. And they would laugh and ridicule me and, all the way, I mean, for a long time. Every failure I had, I mean, but my imagination was so strong. My desire to be that, to be a millionaire was so strong. I was just lost though, because I was so far off track. And I think that what happens is that a lot of us, God has given us these some skills, and we're purposed to do great things and enormous things, but sometimes we let this get us so far off track that we don't know what in the hell we're supposed to do. You know, all we do when we get lost is that we start pretending. And a lot of people start pretending. And when you start pretending, you're way off track of what God has in store for you, because I always say this, that God always delegates angels to come and take you to the next level and help you out. But when you are a pretender, the angel that comes, he has a difficult time finding you because you're fugazi. You just pretending to be something that you're really not. And as long as you continue to be something that you're not, you have to be what you really are. Like, I always talk to people about looking in that mirror and having a moment of truth. And I had my moment of truth, and it wasn't pretty. And in my moment of truth, I discovered that I was full of shit. I mean, the skills that I had, I used them, to trick people, con people. When I was doing loans, I mean, I used my discernment in such a horrible way. And until I made a covenant that I was done with that, did I not get on track? And I had to look in the mirror and come to the conclusion that the reason that you're not what you want to be is because you don't even fucking know who you are. Because you're so far off into blurry airy land, pretending to be, that you're lost. You don't even know who you are. And who are you? You're Kenneth Earl Lloyd. You're the son of Earl Francis Lloyd, the first African American to play in the NBA, of Dr. Virginia Lloyd. And, look at your lineage, but look at the sacrifices that your family have made for you. But look at you, you're so lost because you're not operating on principle. You're just wandering around pretending to be something that you're not. And a lot of people are right now, they're like I was. A lot of people are pretending to be something that they're not. And this is why they will never become what God has intended for them to be, because you live your whole life a lie. I mean, it's like there's no shame in the struggle. There's no shame in the struggle. No shame in the struggle. Because there's not one person on this earth that has become a millionaire whose story is not riddled with failure and struggle and pain. It's just a part of the process. I mean, you go through it. And I tell everybody that the majority of the pain comes through failure. And it's not the failure, because you learn through the failure, but it's the ridicule. It's the ridicule. Your friends laughing at you and, and saying that you're a failure. And You know, and when you worry about that, I mean, listen, when you worry about that, it inhibits you because you become afraid to really just go all out and try and pursue what it is you want. You become afraid. A lot of people, you know, they become very afraid of that, you know. And it's something about fear, you know, because if if anybody asks me, what is the one thing, Kenny, most important thing that it takes to become a millionaire? And I tell people it takes courage. It takes courage to get yourself back up after colossal failures. I've had enormous colossal to get yourself back up. Before I had my greatest success when I was at TLC, I had my greatest failure. But you know what's funny? In my greatest failure, epic, epic failure, guess what happened to me? I met Lachelle Pierre, who was one of my very best friends on this earth, one of my most trusted friends. I met Shailene Mack, who was my legal counsel. I did not know through my epic failure. I met her, and she's one of my very best friends. I met this young lady named Emma. Emma owns Bar Divas. She does all of my events. I met her. I met a sister named Marnetta. I met I met some people. I met a guy named Don Ciprian. I met some people through an epic failure that I have relationships that have, and each of them, with the exception of maybe one, has a dynamic role in my success. Each Lachelle and Jaylene Mack have epic roles in my success. Without them, along with Shantae, I wouldn't be successful. They've been with me for a long time. I've had new people in my life that I've just met that now, you know, in my company, you know, that have epic roles in my success. The ladies who work with me, you know, they're just like, and the thing is that the one thing I've never been short on is courage. I've never been afraid to fail because every failure I've had, I've learned something. Um, a lot of people, you know, they let fear inhibit them. You know, this is funny because there are a lot of people that will not seek my counsel, that don't want me to work with them, that the things that I tell them, they don't institute and they don't do it all the way out. They don't go all the way out. And they don't do it because they're afraid that they might fail. And that failure might be too much for them. They think for real that they're afraid that if this man gives me this information and I go out here and I have to put it to work and it don't work, for me, like if he gives me the blueprint and I still fail, oh my God, I can't. And so instead of listening to what I have to say, because if somebody's done it and help other people make money, chances are I can help you make money. But a lot of people are afraid to go all out because they are afraid to fail. And see, what happens is that fear, you know, like fear makes people do a lot of things. Fear makes people quit. Fear makes people kill. But fear also is one of the greatest motivating factors for people to have success, you know, because you have to use it when you master using fear as fuel, man, it'll take you to a whole nother level. You start looking at things a little different, you know. You gotta let fear make you, you know, like fear, it makes me. What does it make me? It makes me careful, you know, because I fear, you know, losing everything I have. So I'm very careful. I'm very deliberate in my decision making. I'm very deliberate in not being emotional. You know, fear, you know, it makes me check and analyze things different. It makes me take a different look at people. It makes me sharper. It makes me become a real student of my game. You know, it really does. It makes me stay on top of my game. Like, example, I've already have a reputation in this industry from the standpoint of a distributor, but that don't mean anything now. What I've done in the past is the past. It's what am I doing now? Now I'm an owner. So now I can't fail at this. I'll never forget, me and Holtz and Bugs had a conversation about where we are now, you know, and not leaning on the accolades of what we did in the past because it's meaningless, because now we're taking on a new challenge and this is what we would be defined by. And I told him, we said that we can't fail. We can't, because with the success that he has had in this industry, the success that I have had in this industry, we said if we fail, who would think they could succeed? And we have to be the example that people like us can succeed. So therefore, I use that fear to drive me and say, you're not going to fail. I don't care what anybody said. I don't care who leaves, who what. You know, who gets fired. I don't care about that because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid because I know, like in that video, that God has no intention for me to be a failure. It's just that simply because I'm favored, it doesn't mean that I don't have tough times. It doesn't mean that the road is not rough, because the road is rough. But I'm not afraid because I've been here before. Before I made money, there can't be any road rougher than that because before I made money, I was broke. Ain't nothing tougher than being broke. At least making money, I know my bills are paid. But before I started making money, and all I had was belief and faith, hell, I didn't know how the bills were going to be paid. I just believe, God, I know you're going to see me through this. And you know what? I don't care what went down. I mean, like at the last minute, 0 hour, man, God always came through for me and Shante. Always. Always made a way when it didn't even look like we had a way. So therefore, it's how you use fear. A lot of people use fear. You know, they fear failure so much that they don't even think straight. You can't even think straight. Look, your imagination is all you have. It's all you really have. Like, you have to imagine yourself living a much better life than what you're living now. You have to imagine, you know, like you said, like I've always imagined, like right now, I'm manifesting and imagining a 140-foot yacht. You know what? Right now, with my business, you know, we're 3 years in. We know we're close to where we're going to be. One would think, Kenny, you think that's a stretch? And I would say to them, a stretch to you, but it's not a stretch to me because my imagination is so strong, but it's more than imagination. That's why people call people who have strong imagination visionaries, because my imagination creates a vision. And that vision helps me settle down and create a plan. And that plan that I have, nothing and no one in this universe will ever upset me or derail me from that plan. Because when the enemy knows that God has a plan, that this plan is a holy plan, it's a divine plan that's going to take you to another place, man, he sends every obstacle he can. He will send people to try to break your spirit. This is why I tell you, when you're in your imagination stage, man, look, anybody that brings negativity to you, you need to cut them off, because it's amazing how negative people find negative people and they prey on people. They test you. They'll call you up, say negative things to you about your company, about your people. And man, I tell them, you're calling the wrong one. They don't even call me anymore because they know that I'm not even hearing it. You know, there's no space here because this right here, this is, nobody can control it. If anybody can control this, you're lost. Because this right here, nobody can control my headspace. Nobody. Nobody can control my headspace. I know where I'm going. I know where we're destined to be. I already know it because I've been there before, deja vu. You know, if you've done it once, you can do it again and again and again and again. It's just, I understand the process. And part of the process is what appears to be failure. But in failure, see, I bask in it. See, it's like I saw a movie um, before, and this guy was a soldier. He kept dying every day, but he would wake up the next day and he could go and correct his mistakes. Well, that's how I am. You know, I might get shot down, and there are a lot of people right now who look at me and think that I'm dead in the water. I've heard something, you know, some stuff about being underwater, and I tell everybody, listen, shit, if I'm underwater, if the ark is underwater, it's because we are submarine too. You know, it's perspective. See, that's what people want to see. The people who say things like that, they want to see things like that, but it don't throw me, you know, because I'm called to be a leader. I'm called to lead people from poverty. I'm called to show people a better way of life. And so with that, and with that covering and with that anointing, man, it comes with a lot of attacks. You know, and so the one thing, my biggest fear that fuels me is letting you down. You hear me? My biggest fear is letting you down. And just know that it's just a fear that fuels me. It fuels me. It makes me better. It makes me get better. It makes me seek more information. It makes me get wiser. It makes me make smarter decisions, better decisions. It helps me better in my selection about the team that I surround myself with. And I do all this and I'm fueled by fear. You know, I get up early in the morning because I'm fueled by fear. You know, I'm fueled by it. And I use it, it's like rocket fuel for me. You know, when I get ready to do these hour powers, it's like it's like I get a little nervous because you know, you know, doing this comes with a lot of responsibility because there are people that tune in that need to hear something. And for me, I don't care if it's 1,000 people, just 10, 20, because I know there's somebody that's supposed to be hearing this. And the thing that I want to give you before I close out is don't let your fear turn you into something fake. Don't think that you have to appear to be something that you're not. Be who you are. Be authentic in who you are. You know, because in your journey, failure is a part of it. Don't let anybody kill and stop seeking, you know, people to tell you you're doing right, you're doing good. Stop seeking that. You know, you don't need that. You're going to fail. You know, the thing is, can you get back up and can you dust yourself back off? And can you go get it again? Can you go get it again? You know, do you have the character, you know, to be authentic? You know, man, some people out here are so lost. And it saddens me so much to see people with so many skills just so lost. So lost. You know why? Because they're scared to death. They're scared that they're going to lose some things that are going to expose them. You know, uh, they're afraid that people are going to see who they really are. Because see, the only shame in failure is acting like you haven't failed when you really have, and living a front. Because when you get exposed bad and heavy. Be you. Don't be afraid to tell people we need to try something different because this didn't work. I do it all the time. You know, I share with people, honestly. Like this, all my decisions are not good decisions. But all of them are not bad either. And the ones that I've made mistakes, I never make the same mistake twice. So as you all get ready to go out here You have to just take a man, get in a quiet space. Remove yourself from the bullshit that people on social media are giving you every day. Find yourself a quiet space and just imagine yourself in the life that you want to live. Just find a quiet space. Just imagine being there. Imagine the home that you want. Imagine the landscaping, the furniture, you know. Imagine entertaining your family in this home, having Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner. Imagine that. Imagine it. Imagine yourself there and just start believing. Imagine yourself there every night. And I promise you to start manifesting. But imagining it is not enough. You have to work for it. You have to fight for it. You got to cry for it. You got to moan and hurt so bad trying to get it. You got to do it consistently. And one day, when you do it every day, you go out here and try this every day. One day, you're going to look up and you're going to have a breakthrough. I'm wishing that on you right now. You're going to have a breakthrough. And when you have that breakthrough, you're going to know it wasn't nothing but your imagination and was but God. See, God is just waiting to give you your breakthrough. It's just that you got to believe in it. You got to fight for it. Because him wanting you to have is not enough. He wants you to show him that you want it for yourself more than he wants it for you. When you do that, you are on the cusp of having your breakthrough. I'm Kenny Lloyd, and I have fought through not feeling good this evening. But I wish you all an incredible week, and thank you all very much for joining me. Love you guys to life and back.